director of the Salesian Teen Leadership Camp. He loves music. He's a pianist and a composer. And 4 years ago, directed a choir of Visitation sisters, including Sister Mary Frances, as they prepared a CD in honor of the 400th anniversary of our order. In the 15 years that Father Mike and I have been friends, I have been inspired by his openness to God, his down-homeness, and his ability to articulate Salesian spirituality in fresh ways. Now he is doing just that as director of novices for the 6 men currently preparing to be oblates at St. Francis de Sales, Brother Mickey's community. These wonderful men have been with us for the past week and have helped us so much in preparing for tonight. When I asked them on the slide how they might describe their novice director, that was risky, wasn't it? Some of the words that came to their mind, besides drill sergeant, was authentic, unique, exuberant, and full of laughter. Our Visitation sisters see him as companion and brother, and someone that we dearly wanted to introduce to you so that he can share with you tonight. Please welcome Father Michael Newman.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Father.
It's a pleasure to be here this evening in Minneapolis to celebrate 25 years of Salesian spirituality here with the sisters here in Minneapolis. It's, as you might have known, and I hope it works, let me know if it doesn't, because it's always risky.
There you go.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
So what we're talking about tonight, I like to call is a GPS spirituality. What Sister Karen forgot to tell you was that the 7 of us traveled in a minivan from Michigan out here to Minneapolis. It was about a 13-hour trip. There were a lot of adventures, and I'll regale you later if you'd like to hear about it. But you know, when you're traveling with a GPS, it's comforting. It's something that's there. It guides you on the road. It takes you where you need to go. And if you mess up or make a mistake, and I've made several, especially on the one-way streets here, it simply says, recalculate. And if you think about life, isn't that in a sense what the sisters do for us here in Minneapolis? They do what a GPS does. They comfort us. They keep track of our progress. They might tell us in a gentle but firm way that we need to recalculate our lives. And what do the sisters use for this? Well, their GPS is Salesian spirituality, which we would call good, practical spirituality. This is the reason the community is so wonderful, and this is what we celebrate here this evening. Oh, I went ahead of me. Let's recalculate back. So Salesian spirituality is the spirituality of St. Francis de Sales. Notice that never works when you want it to. There we go. So this is the spirituality of St. Francis de Sales and Jane de Chantal. They were unique. It's very rare in religion to find a male and a female united and together. And that was them, their entire life. They were best friends, also rare in the 16th century. They founded the Order of the Visitation, an order of women whose primary mission is to live Jesus. That is, to go out and be present in the community in a way that everybody can see in them the presence of Christ. And also to create little groups in the community that help radiate that message of Jesus forward. And this spirituality is huge. There's so much we could say about it, but I'm limited, and it did it again. So what I thought we'd talk about tonight is simply this idea of be who you are and be that well. The undergirding notion to the spirituality. Or if you tweet like I do, hashtag you be you. St. Francis de Sales tells us, don't waste your time dreaming of being somebody else. Don't try and be somebody else. Work and pray at being yourself, because God desires you as you are right now. So all of the spirituality the sisters live can be summed up in that one phrase, God desires you. Because Salesian spirituality is all about connectivity. It's all about us being together. And this connectivity is a basic human need. And not only is it human, but now it's morphed into our technology as well. Because now we have the cloud, everything can be connected. I'm connected to my computer way back there by this device. We're all connected. And this is because love seeks union. Wow, it's like on its own. It's got a mind of its own back there. The device is more connected to me than I am to myself. So it just showed you what I love above everything else that I have. And I shouldn't say this as a priest, but I'll publicly say, after God and Jesus, I love my phone. I think some of you do too. And when you think about it, when you have your phone, it does everything. I text all the time, even at dinner when I shouldn't, or in the car, at the stoplight today on Emerson and Broadway. Thank you, Jordan, for telling me light was green. I also use it to play games. I love to play Angry Birds, Candy Crush Saga. I buy things on my phone. I'm social media savvy. Set with this clicker. There we go. So we have all these things, and we all use our phones. And so the big question is, why do we love our phones so much? So just think about your phone for a second.
That's my niece.
Now,
Great niece.
if we're honest with ourselves, when your phone buzzes, like it might be right now, don't you just want to pick it up right now and check it? Or when you're waiting in line and you're bored, like when I was at Walgreens the other day with Sister Mary Francis, we're waiting in line, there's one person ahead of me, it's a good time to check my email, always. Or, and I hate to say this, but this is true, do you ever feel a little self-conscious when you're in a place, you pull out your phone to feel and look like you're important? Like I have to send an email right now. I do that all the time. So why is it that we constantly check our phones? I think it's because we have an inherent desire to be loved. Or as St. Francis de Sales would say, we seek union with the one that we love. We're seeking connectivity. We're seeking union. And if you think about the life we lead now, too far. If you think about the life we lead now, society has conditioned us to believe that we are disconnected. These are what I call the 3 big lies about society, and they get played out in our lives every single day. And lie number 1 is, I'm all alone, and nobody cares about me, about who I am, or what I feel, or what I think. And lie number 2 is, in my family, or my workplace, my society, my neighborhood, my religious community, I cannot be seen as weak. That's lie number 2. Lie number 3, in my job, as a parent, as a priest, as a sister, as an aunt, uncle, and anything I do, I have to do it all. And I have to do it perfectly. These are the 3 lies that society tells us. We see them in other ways too. I'm too old, so I have nothing to offer. I'm too young, no one will listen to me. I'm afraid to tell you what I really think, because you might reject me. And when we live out these lies in our lives, this makes us afraid to be ourselves. It makes us afraid to love. And we retreat into ourselves, and this aloneness and this cycle of lies just continues, and it disrupts and destroys our peace. And so many times we're afraid to be ourselves because we aren't really sure that we're worthy of love and belonging. So for example, if I were going to ask you right now to tell me about love, you'd probably tell me about your most recent heartbreak. If I asked you to tell me about belonging, you'd probably first tell me a story about your most excruciating experience of being excluded. We have a fear of disconnection. If you don't think this is true, think about what goes through your mind when your wireless router goes down. We have a fear of disconnection. If you only knew this about me, you wouldn't like or accept me. The perfect antidote to this is what the sisters 25 years ago brought here to the north side. This idea of vulnerability, this idea of connection. Because in order for us to be seen, in order for connection to happen, we have to be ourselves and allow us to be seen. And that means we need to be seen as who and what we are. Not as we'd like to portray ourselves, not as who we'd like to be, maybe not as what that Facebook status picture looks like, but as who we really are. To put our walls down, to let ourselves be loved. And I'll give you a quick example. I hope that works. There was once a sister, I'm not saying it's one of the Visitation sisters here, but it could have been. It could be that one there, but I'm not saying it was. But there might have been an activity in a house, and they were trying to move little kids from a neighborhood or school, a place around the house to get everything going. And there was one little student who just didn't want to follow directions. And somebody got a little upset. The sister tried to say A, and the student would always do B, and she'd ask him to come here, and he would say go there. And finally she lost her temper. And she walked up to him, and she grabbed him by the cheeks, and she said, "What am I going to do with you?" And he looked at her and he said, "Sister, nobody's ever loved my face before." What do you do with that? But that's vulnerability. That's connection. That's allowing yourself to be seen. That's letting God love you as you are right now. Not as you hope to be, not as you were, but as you are now. And it takes courage and gentle strength to love like this. And if there's one thing Salesian spirituality and the Visitations have taught me, it's that we're worthy of love and belonging. We just have to believe it. Wholehearted people believe this. These are people who have a sense of love and belonging because they believe they are worthy of it. That's it. They believe they're worthy. They do not have walls. They're not afraid of who they are. They're compassionate. They're willing to let go of who they thought they should be in order to be who they are. And St. Francis de Sales says that we have peace and joy in our lives when we have the courage to acknowledge this and to accept it. When we can accept that we're imperfect and we still acknowledge it and live our lives. And here are the steps he offers to it. First, we've got to let ourselves be seen as we are. Think about the sisters. They are 100% authentic. They may live in their 2 monastic houses, but they have no barriers keeping them from our needs and our hearts. To let ourselves be really seen is courageous. In talking with them the other day, they said to me, "Mike, to be honest, we didn't know what we were doing when we moved in. We felt that God was calling us to do it, and so we did. And so many times during those first few years and today, we didn't know what was happening. And so we just said to our neighbors, we don't know what we're doing. Please help us." And that really liberated us. And our neighbors helped. The second step they demonstrate to us so well is love with your whole heart even when there is no guarantee. True love, love that comes from inside us, doesn't love because we know the other person will love us back. True love loves because the nature of love and the nature of God is true and unconditional love. And the sisters have walked with us, and last year many of us had the privilege to walk with Sister Karen during her cancer. We simply walk together in love. No guarantee, just love. The final one that St. Francis suggests is let go of who you think you should be in order to become who you are. And this is all about the future, which is totally out of our control. And we have to be open to how God is working through them and us and this city right now. Because the charism of the Visitation has changed since the sisters moved here. It's branched out from them. It's not just about the 6 of them anymore. It also includes some such as their VIP this year, Cody. It also includes Brenda on the bottom right, who's their monastic immersion for the next 6 months. It also includes all the Visitation companions, one of whom Linda is there. But it even goes farther than that. Maybe. It reaches out into the whole community itself, through the community activities, from the garden days, all the many parties, all the different prayer groups, especially the From Death to Life group. And it just recently, 5 years ago, branched out into the St. Jane House, which is that dedicated space offering welcoming and hospitality to neighbors and friends of the sisters here in North Minneapolis. It's a force for love and unity, community and possibility. And I'm staying there with the 6 novices. There's always something happening there. I mean, it's always on. It's always. Brian told me this morning, they just started Jane's ukulele brigade. Somebody called up and said, I'd like to teach music. This is a great idea. We're going to teach members of the community how to make music. Let's all do this together. When does it start, Brian?
Monday night.
Monday night. So talk to Brian if you want to come. I've never played a ukulele, but I think it would be fun. And then today, just this morning, the mayor, Betsy Hodges, was there with the From Death to Life group, meeting at the St. Jane House, and they began talking. So this is a force, this is the impact of the sisters' ministry. We had to let go of who we thought we should be in order